Hey, baseball coach, parent, or player, I got a quick question for you. What are the chances that if, say, you play over the next month, that your players will have to battle failure? Will they have to overcome what comes up if they have some failure? Will there maybe be a loss of confidence, doubt, fear, frustration? Will there be frustration that the player has to overcome to play at his best? Anger. Will there be some anger, confusion, some inconsistency, and maybe choking under pressure? Well, if you've been around baseball really much at all, you'd be with me, then say the chances of that at 100% that the player is going to have to deal with. So the question becomes, how are you preparing your players to deal with that? You physically, you get them in shape, you teach them different pitches, hand paths, and first and thirds. But from a mental game standpoint, which many people say is much more important, certainly on a game day, to how someone performs, how are you getting them ready? My answer to this is this Compete program. Compete is a video-based training to play heads-up baseball. Heads-up Baseball 2.0 that myself, Dr. Tom Hansen, and Dr. Ken Ravizza, who I'll talk about in a moment, wrote this book, and then we got a lot of feedback saying, can you help us teach it? Compete program is just that. But let me step back and make sure we're on the same page. What percentage do you think of baseball success is mental? Like 20, 50, 80, 90? I've found asking this question for 30 years, people generally say around 80%. So, what investment have you made in the mental game? What, maybe 20% of your time, energy, money have been invested in developing the mental game since it's that important? Too often, we're right down here. And the question becomes, why is that? And the answer becomes, how? I don't know how. How do you train the mental game? I just don't know how to do it. Well, again, we're entering the book Heads Up Baseball 2.0, which to get this Compete program, you don't have to have the book. It would help enormously. I highly recommend it for you and all the players. But I made it deliberately so that you didn't have to have it, so that to keep it in reach sometimes in terms of making the investment. Because we wanted to get this out. So who are the authors? Dr. Ken Ravizza, who very sadly passed away in the summer of 2018. It's very hard to believe, but he lives on through his teaching. And here he is. He was in the big leagues for 30 years, working with guys, particularly real tight with Joe Madden. He worked with the Rays. He was with the Cubs when they won the World Series as their mental game guy. Here's Sosha Latchman. Ken worked with them for decades, and he worked with top colleges, national championship teams, high school teams, tons in softball as well, and just an amazing person. Myself, PhD in sports psychology, was a head college coach for 7 years, was hitting coach at UVA for 3 years, worked a couple years with the Rangers, and full-time with the New York Yankees. And what we basically did, we take all that experience, it's like 70 years of working with baseball, and took the best information, picked the brains of the best people. How did you do that? What helped you? How do you get over this? How do you do this? And pull it together into the book, and then taking that to make it as learnable and teachable as possible into this Compete program. The basic premise, players can train to develop these skills. Confidence is a skill. Consistency, overcoming failure faster, playing well when feeling bad, the essence really of being a great competitor. Access talent under pressure is a fancy way of saying not choking. Be a better teammate. And bottom line, be a competitor. Talk to all these Division I coaches. What do you want most in a player? They say to be a guy to be a competitor, that he can compete. That, yeah, he's got the physical tools in the showcase, but didn't in the game, when it's on the line, when it matters, boom, can it show up? That's what we want. And that's a trainable, learnable thing. Also, particularly for parents here, live a better life. The Heads Up Baseball skills to apply directly to all aspects of life. A lot of people have read the first book and say, hey, this is really a business book. It's really helped me with my school, with my relationships, with whatever it is. The stuff that you learn going through the Compete program, going through Heads Up Baseball, makes the person able to live a better life as well. So what makes it difficult to teach? Coaches tell us they don't find the time. It's hard to find the time to do it. We got to get all these reps in. I got time to prepare. And besides, I don't know really how to teach it. I read the book. I love it. It's awesome. But 90% of the 147 coaches that I surveyed recently said they are not getting the job done with the mental game, and they want help. And that's why we created this Compete program. So let's take a look at it. What are you getting? Step-by-step mental training program done for you. 15 videos and action guides, and I'll just show it to you in a moment so it makes it easier. So you get lifetime access, all upgrades. Your players get lifetime access, and 14 bonus videos with Ken. So let's take a look at what this looks like. So again, you get a link, and you get in here, and here's the compete. Here's training lesson 9. Again, there's 15 of them. This one happens to be the pitching chapter. So it's just like the video you're watching now. I'm going away, clicking through. What are the highlights? What are the key elements of this chapter? What do you need? What do you really need to know to really get it? And then download worksheet. Let's grab one here. Here's one from lesson 7. Is about preparation. Here, by the way, are the 5 skills: responsibility, awareness, mission. The book walks these through and then puts them into pitching, hitting, and defense. So here's how this works. The guy clicks it. Your player, your inner signal light, as green as you can right now. It's the answer here. And I just literally, just like I just did, I give the answer. So it's not that it's hard. It's just that you have to do it in order to be able to fill in the blank. You have to watch this and fill it out. And at the bottom of every one, there's a practice. The do it is to practice. It helps me be green, triggers my yellow lights. I explain how to do the exercise, what they are to do. So it closes that gap. It's like, okay, here's the routines of one pitch at a time, the inner traffic, great ideas. What should they do this week? What should they do today? I spell that out for them and give it to them. So as you, as a coach or as a parent, you don't have to come up with that stuff. That we've done it for you. So all you really have to do is then go through it yourself and lead conversations about them, ask them questions. How's it going with this? What'd you think of this? You basically can say, okay, for number 7, I want action guide number 7 turned in on Tuesday. And then they said, again, you send them a link so they watch it on their phone. They can watch it. You're not taking practice time. Anytime they have their phone, they can be watching their 10 to 15 minute video. Now, I want to show you this great feature here, bonus videos. Ken, with my son CJ, can walk through different aspects. Here's your pre-pitch routine, yellow light, focal point, taking it from the bullpen to the game, what to do between innings. A bunch of videos here of him teaching heads up baseball stuff. So that comes as a bonus. That's particularly in pitching, hitting, and defense chapters. You get actionable, here's on the field, Ken teaching that stuff. So super, super cool. Very powerful me just to see that. Every time I see that, I see that. So coaches are saying, hey, my players love it. It makes training the mental game so easy. I've really seen the guys working it in games and practice. And myself and Ken teach it. You don't have to do it. Joe Madden says most practice time is spent trying to perfect mechanics or get stronger, and those are important, of course, but when the game time comes and the ump says play ball, the real advantage lies with the player who has trained himself to compete. Committing yourself to playing heads-up baseball will get you the most success and enjoyment out of your talent. One last thing I want to leave you with here. One of the key elements of heads up baseball is know it, do it, own it. That's the progression of how people learn. So know it, you get it conceptually. Hey, I should play one pitch at a time. Do it. Now you go out and actually practice doing that. What are the skills and strategies for actually doing that? And ultimately what you want is for a player to own their own competitive process. You'll see in what Sosha talks about is like watching over 3,000 big league games of playing in them. Players who have a competitive process that they go out and do that get the most out of their talent. And the Compete program is the bridge from, oh, I know the mental game is important, but what do I do? How do I teach it? Let us do it for you. So what I invite you to do is to get the program, get into it, get some feedback, and then decide whether or not to keep it, because I got 100% money back guarantee, no time limit. If you say, you know what, I wish I hadn't done this, can I have my money back? Boom, no questions, no problem. So just click the link. You can be watching it moments from now, and you can decide for yourself, forward it to players, get some feedback, and then you'll really know for sure. But I think it's going to be invaluable. If you think the mental game is important, if you think it's 80 or anything close to that %, I think it's a great investment. Either way, whether you have it or not, what I'd love for you to do is get out there and play some heads-up baseball.